Hello, my name is Rabbi Kristein. I was invited here to the San Diego Kollel to teach Torah and teach halacha. I was chosen. I'll be teaching halacha Shulchan Aruch, and we're going to start with Hilchot Kashrut. And I chose Hilchot Kashrut for a reason that it's practical. It's something that as soon as you get home, you have you're faced with many questions of kashrut at home, and at the heart of most of the kashrut questions is the basar v'chalav. So we're going to be learning straight Shulchan Aruch. It'll be for beginner to intermediate kind of thing. We're not going to be going into serious into Farshim. I'll be saying the Shulchan Aruch, the text of the Shulchan Aruch itself, and translating, and also I'd like to mention that none of the learning of the halacha here is specific to paskin from, or to everything. Every question should be taken to a posek, to their local Orthodox rabbi if you have questions. So the idea here is to get familiar with the ideas and the background and all the different commonalities and things that are involved in the Shulchan Aruch and Hilchot Basar B'Chalav, which is what we're starting with. And then you take the ideas and you expound on them, and you come up with questions. When you come up with questions, you can ask those questions to get the practical halakha. So we're not learning in order to posek halakha. We're learning to harchava in order to widen our knowledge and have a better understanding of all of the inyanim in Hilchot Basar B'Chalav. So we're going to start in Siman Yud Zayin, Pei Zayin. That's 87. Be'ezu basar noheg din basar b'chalav, behech nikra bishul. So the first, this siman is going to be about what types of meat do we have the halacha of basar b'chalav? Is it which types of meat? And be'ech nikra bishul, and what is considered cooking? When have you considered that you cooked basar b'chalav, that you're over on the isur of basar b'chalav? So start. Katuv b'Torah lo tevashel gedi b'chalev imo gimel pa'amim. It says in the Torah 3 times, lo tevashel gedi b'chalev imo. Do not cook a calf, a kid, literally, in its mother's milk. A kid meaning a baby sheep is a baby goat is called a kid, and lo tevashel gedi b'chalev imo. So don't cook the meat of a baby sheep or a goat in its mother's milk. So it says this 3 times in the Torah. So it says Gimel Pa'amim, Echad le'isur bishul, V'echad le'isur achila, V'echad le'isur hana'ah. So these 3 times, separate times that it says in the Torah, in the Chumash, Lo tevashel gedi b'chalev imo. So one time it's for prohibiting the cooking of milk and meat together, and one time it's for the actual eating of milk and meat together, and the 3rd time is for having hana, that's having benefit from milk and meat that was cooked together. והוציא האכילה בלשון בישול, לומר שאינו אסור מן התורה אלא דרך בישול. So, לא תבשל גדי בחלב אמו. It says, do not cook the calf in its mother's milk. So I understand I'm not allowed to cook it. But one of them we said is for eating. So the one that says for eating, lo tevashel gedi b'chalev imo, it's saying cooking. So I understand that the Chachamim expounded and darshu that it's really means for eating. But since it says lo tevashel, so the eating that's not allowed is only when it's eaten derech bishul. That means it was cooked together. Once if it was cooked together, That's when minat Torah that you cannot allow to eat it together. And you're not allowed to eat that mixture. Aval midrabanan. What about midrabanan? Food that was milk and meat that was not cooked together, like we just said, that's the only way that it's asur min Torah. So the Rabbanan, even it continues here. Aval midrabanan asur b'chol inyan. But for midrabanan, it's asur even if it's not cooked together, even if it was just mixed together, or some fell into the other and it became a mixture, but it wasn't cooked together. So that is the rabbis prohibited that as well. So I'd like to give a little bit of introduction of some of the inyanim of midarabanan and minat Torah. So one thing we're going to see a lot in the Shulchan Aruch is the inyan of Doraita and Dorabanan. Doraita, it's asur minat Torah. That means that the Torah itself is prohibited, and then Dorabanan is the Torah would allow it, but the rabbis came and prohibited it. So why would the rabbis prohibit something that's allowed in the Torah? So it says various times in the Torah that this is what we're supposed to do. Ushmartem et mishmarti, it says in Vayikra, Ushmartem et mishmarti, and the rabbis learned from that. Asu mishmeret le mishmarti, that the Rabbanan are supposed to come and they're supposed to make asu gderot v'halachot, and make you should make fences and make other halachot that should protect from doing the actual Torah prohibition. But one thing that we'll see repeatedly is that the only way that they make a prohibition is on a Torah prohibition. If it's a rabbinic prohibition, and then so we might say, well, let's make another rabbinic prohibition to avoid breaking the Rabbanan, the rabbinic prohibition. So this is not done. That would be called trade Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan only where goes their gederot only on the Doraita to protect from doing a halacha isur Doraita. But if it's a isur Rabbanan, so then if there was another reason to Rabbanan that would make it okay, so that would be trade Rabbanan. So the inyan of trade Rabbanan, two Rabbanan together is mutar, and we'll see that in various cases coming up, just as an introduction. Okay, continues the Shulchan Aruch. Gedi lav davka. That we said a kid, a calf or a baby goat. Lav davka. That's not specifically. Duhu adin shor se ve'ez. It would be the same thing with other kind of ox and a sheep and a goat would be the same, has the same halacha as the gidi, the baby goat. V'lo shna b'chalav aim lo shna b'chalav acheret ela shediber katuv behoveh. And there's no difference if it's the milk of the mother or of another domesticated animal. Rather, diber katuv behoveh. The pasuk is talking about the common case. So the common case is that when you have a baby calf or a baby animal, so he's around the mother, and he's around the mother's, and the mother is nursing. So you have the mother's milk is there, and you have the baby is there, and so that's the normal, that's the usual case that you would have. But really, any domesticated animal, that's you said ox, sheep, and goats, those would be included in the Torah prohibition. And the chalav, the milk that we said, b'chalav imo, the milk of its mother's meat, the milk of its mother's milk, the meat being cooked in its mother's milk, is lav davka also, that we're not talking about its mother's milk. Rather, any milk from a domesticated animal is also, you'd also break the Torah prohibition. So the Torah seems to say, again, very specifically, not to cook the calf in its own mother's milk, but it really means any domesticated animal should not be cooked in any other domesticated animal's milk. And we'll continue. Eno, says the Shulchan Aruch, Eno noheg ela bebasar behema Torah bechalav behema Torah. That this prohibition of basar bechalav is only applies to domesticated kosher animal with the milk of a domesticated kosher animal. Behema means a domesticated animal, and we say behema, and when I keep saying domesticated, it's to take out the wild animals, the basar chaya. You have like a deer meat, for example. All that is not included in the Torah prohibition. The deer meat or a chayav, a oaf, a chicken meat is also not included in the Torah prohibition. That's why we say behema. Behema means a domesticated animal. It's talking about ox, sheep, and goats. So we see other animals. We'll see what is their status and what is their halacha with the other animals. Mi derabanan. If the rabbis, what the rabbis do with the other animals and other types of milk. But the Shulchan Aruch here is being very specific. And he's saying that this Isur Torah, this Torah prohibition, is only with a domesticated animal, ox, sheep, or a goat. Those are the kosher animals. Those are that are kosher. In the kosher milk of one of those kosher animals. So kosher meat in kosher milk. Aval. What about basar Torah b'chalav tmeya or basar tmeya b'chalav Torah? What if you have kosher meat in non-kosher milk or non-kosher meat in kosher milk? Says the Shulchan Aruch, mutarin bebishul behana'ah. So the Torah prohibition doesn't apply at all. You're allowed to cook it, and you're allowed to have hana. Why doesn't it talk about achila? So achila, of course, eating it, of course you can't eat it because it has a mixture of a non-kosher, either non-kosher meat or non-kosher milk. So the Torah, the Shulchan Aruch doesn't have to say, won't say achila because you're not allowed to eat that mixture. But it's not a basar b'chalav mixture. So we're going to see as we learn also that the basar b'chalav has a special din to it, that when the basar and the chalav meet together and they're cooked, that they become a whole new, like a new isur. And this, like a piece of treif it becomes a piece of basar b'chalav, you call it. So if it's a mixture of a kosher animal with a non-kosher animal, the meat and the milk mixing, you have not touched the Torah prohibition. You cook them together, and you have not transgressed the right of the Torah prohibition. Basar chayav. So here's our non-domesticated or wild animals. Basar chayav, a wild animal or birds, fowl. Afilu b'chalav Torah mutar b'bishul u'b'hana'ah. So, what if you took, says the Shulchan Aruch, what if you took a different type of animal, not the type of animal, a domesticated, and not an ox or a sheep or a goat. You took a deer meat, for example, or a chicken meat. So that, cooking it together with kosher milk, it would be mutar b'bishul ubahana. You would be allowed to cook it, and you would be allowed to have benefit from it. So again, v'af b'achila eno asur ela midrabanan. But eating it chicken with milk is only asur midrabanan. The same thing would be with deer meat or any wild animal meat from the kosher animals. Now we go down another step about aval dagim v'chagavim. If you had dagim v'chagavim, that's fish and grasshoppers, or the kosher type of grasshoppers, chagavim, ein behem isur afilu midrabanan. So it says here in the Shulchan Aruch, have you ever had everybody comes to you with the interesting question about having fish with milk? So here it says in the Shulchan Aruch that fish with milk, or these grasshoppers with milk, you would have no problem. Haga, it says the Shulchan Aruch Haga. So when it says Haga, so the Shulchan Aruch is made from the author, the mechaber of Yosef Karo, the Beit Yosef. He's the mechaber of the Shulchan Aruch, and then the Sfaradim, the world is the Sephardi world. Paskin go according to the mechaber in most cases, and then comes the Haga. Comes for the Ashkenazim. We have the Rama Moshe Isilis. We have that comes, and when he expounds on the mechaber, on the Beit Yosef and on the mechaber, he expounds, and those halachat he's giving the halacha mostly for the Ashkenaz world, and you see where the differences are, and it's not always like that. Sometimes he's just expounding and just giving more explanation on the halacha of the mechaber. So says the Haga, the Rama. V'nahagu la'asot chalav mishkedim umanichim b'basar be'of. So, question: Are you allowed to cook meat with almond milk? So, what's the problem? It's almond milk. We said only milk from animal milk is what we're talking about, even D'Rabbanan. So even D'Rabbanan, there's no isur of using a different kind of milk that's made from something else, from plants or from almonds or something like that. But if you do that with actual meat, actual basar, that is in the category of basar v'chalav, then umanichim basar of one second. So it starts with the chicken. So chicken, you're cooking with the almond milk, no problem. Oil ve'eno rak midrabanan. That the whole idea of oaf, like we said, of chayav oaf, wild animals and fowl and birds, they don't fall into the category of the Isur Torah of the Doraita of basar b'chalav. So their whole thing is only midrabanan. So you can put the chicken, and you can put it in the almond milk, and you can put it in the oven, and you can cook them together, and no problem whatsoever. Aval basar behema, but if it's an actual meat from an animal meat, not a domesticated animal of we said the ox, sheep, or a goat, then yesh la'aniach etzel hachalav shkedi, etzel hachalav shkedim. So then you should put a little bit of almonds into the milk. Mishum marita ayin, because then it looks like you're being over on a Torah prohibition. It's not the chicken anymore. A chicken, you can't say. So we won't say, like we said before, trade Rabbanan. We won't say marit ayin on a Rabbanan, because the whole idea of marit ayin means someone's going to see what you're doing. And they're going to see you're cooking this meat and milk mixture, and they don't know what's going on, and they're going to make a mistake, and they're going to come to cook the real thing. and transgress the real Torah prohibition. So marit ayin is d'Rabbanan, and oaf is d'Rabbanan. So for the oaf, for chicken with almond milk, go ahead, no problem, no marit ayin, and you don't have to put any siman, any heker. The heker for marit ayin is like if you go to a wedding and they have a bar of cream cheese or different things like that. You have to so depending on how much people know and what the situation is, a lot of times you have to put a sign. This is parv. This is not real cream cheese or whatever it is. So the sign here would be putting the pieces of almonds into the milk with the meat. But like we said, we only have to do that basar behema yesh laniach etzel hachalav shkedim. Only basar behema. If it's actual meat from an ox, a sheep, or a goat, then you have to put the almonds. Mishum marit ayin, like we said, and this is like we said about the trade d'Rabbanan, that you won't have that the d'Rabbanan is only to protect the d'oraita. So d'oraita is the basar behema, and on that we have the marit ayin, but on the oaf we do not have the marit ayin. Continues the Shulchan Aruch. Asur livashel b'chalav isha. So a regular human mother's milk, a female a human mother's milk. So without getting into questions, kosher, not whatever, any other, without getting into any other questions. There's a reason that you're not allowed to cook meat in a human mother's milk. Because nobody knows what type of milk that it's not a cow's milk. Usually at home in the refrigerator and in the kitchen you have cow's milk. Sometimes if you have a nursing mother, so you'll have nursing milk. So people won't know. So So to go ahead and cook meat with that mixture, that asur, and when we say marit ayin, we understand that this is d'Rabbanan, that this is halacha, a rabbinic prohibition. So we follow through with the rabbinic prohibition. So then what happens? Ve'im nafal letoch hatavshil. What happens if it falls into? If someone cooked this up together, they went ahead and they cooked meat with the nursing mother's milk. So what's the status of that mixture now? What if that mixture falls into another food? Says the mechaber batel, that it's batel. That means you don't even need shishim. You can just say it's in any way. The whole prohibition was because of marit ayin, so it's kosher. So if it falls in by mistake to another tavshil, we won't even require shishim to be mevatel. Haga, says the Rama, the kol shekain de asur levashel lechatchila b'chalav tmeah or basar b'chalav tahor. So says the Rama, he follows through with something that we said above, that the Mechaber said above, that what if you have a mixture of kosher animals' meat with the non-kosher animals' milk? So we said above that that's not a problem, that it doesn't apply. But for the marit ayin, when we're talking about different types of milk that look like milk, so here it looks exactly like milk. The only thing is it's from a non-kosher animal, so but it looks exactly like milk. So again, so says the Rama that halacha that we said above also would be asur mishum marit ayin. Continues the Mechaber. Beitzim animtzaim ba'ofot. You found eggs inside the chicken. That these eggs were not they were not laid yet. They were still inside the chicken when the chicken is shechted. When you shecht the chicken and there's eggs inside. So what is the din of these eggs? So is that considered part of the chicken? If it's part of the chicken, so then it's basar. It's meat, and it's chicken meat. So anything that applies to chicken meat, all the halachot of chicken meat, would apply to these eggs that are found inside the chicken that was shechted. So says the Shulchan Aruch, imem gemurot, if they're complete, dehainu sheyesh lehem chelbon v'chelmon. That means that they have the white and the yolk. You can see the egg has white and it has yolk. Even though you might see that it has all kinds of veins and all kinds of other guts and things that are attached to it, and actual pieces of the behemah, that you think that those are considered meat, that it's all going to make it considered meat. No, because you see the egg, it has white and it has the yellow, the yolk. So even if it has some mi'ura begidim, it has these veins and things going around it. Harei ze gemura. That is harei ze gemura. This egg is considered to be complete. Umutar la'achla b'chalav. And this egg that has the white and the yolk, you are allowed to eat it together with chalav. Even though we know that midrabanan, that oaf with chicken with chalav, you're not allowed to eat. But these eggs are considered complete, so it's considered like eggs and milk, like you would have in your breakfast table. Aval continues the mechaber. Aval im ein la ela chelmon, if it only has the yolk, it hasn't matured enough to get also the white. First, the egg starts with yolk, and then it gets the white around it. So this egg, you see, it only has yolk; it doesn't have white around it. When you find it inside the chicken. Asur levashlam b'chalav. So that is asur. You're not allowed to cook it together with milk. Aval im achlam b'fnei atzmam, mutar le'echol achreim gevina o chalav. But if you ate this unmatured egg that has only the yolk, so it's not considered like you ate chicken, really. You would be able to eat, you don't have to wait after it. It's very close to being chicken itself, because we said, asur levashlam b'chalav, that you're not allowed to cook it, to go ahead and cook it, again, to Rabbanan, together with chalav. But, even though the Rabbanan, we say, don't cook it together, because that's like, you're going to be like cooking chicken with milk, which we made there's a rabbinic prohibition. But we're not going to stretch the rabbinic prohibition to having you also wait. So cooking together something is more strict than the waiting that they placed on us, that we have to wait either 6 hours or 3 hours, 1 hour, however whatever time people wait. So if you ate the egg that is not matured, you would be able to have immediately milk or cheese right after that. So now we're going into we said which types of meat is considered meat, and which types of cooking is considered cooking. So now we're starting with the cooking parts. What's considered cooking? Says the Mechaber, Ha'me'ushan v'ha'mevushal v'chamei Tiveria. Smoked meat. If you cook meat by smoking it, or by cooking it in the hot springs of Tiveria. There's a natural spring in Eretz Yisrael and Tiveria. The halacha brings many times the chamei Tiveria whenever we talk about hot water and heating things and cooking things and prohibitions of cooking and in hot water. So the question comes up of how the water was heated. If the water was heated from the sun, is that considered cooked water? If it's heated from smoke. Just smoke, the edim of the smoke, and it didn't really have fire. So the same thing with chamei Tiveria. We also say with the hot springs, it's the water is from a hot springs, not from fire. It wasn't cooked with fire. It was heated up from the heat of the earth. So Hameushan, smoked, Hamevushal v'chamei Tiberia, or it's cooked with the hot springs of Tiberia. Ein lokin alav. You would not get lashes if someone went ahead and did this. So lashes, so lokin, who's giving lashes? Who's getting whipped over here? So if somebody breaks a Torah prohibition, many times the Torah tells you what the punishment would be, what the consequence would be. The consequence of breaking a D'Rabbanan in the time that the Beit HaMikdash was stand, which we're waiting for it to stand again. If somebody would go ahead and break a rabbinic prohibition, so then there's lashes. Then he would receive lashes. So when the Shulchan Aruch says Ein lokin alav, you won't get whipped over here. So it means that it's not considered that you transgressed a rabbinic prohibition by doing what you did. Not saying that you should go ahead and do it, but if you did it, you won't receive the punishment that from in this case, cooking meat in the Chamei Tiberia. V'chein amevashel basar b'mei chalav. And similarly, we're going to go through different types of things that are almost like cooking, or almost the types of milk. So mei chalav is not chalav. It's like main. So it's like water. That's chalav touched it. So, but it's mostly water. It's the water of the milk. Like if the milk you see in the bottle, sometimes if it sits in the refrigerator, it separates. It turns into water in a kind of a thicker milk, cheesy kind of thing. That what's that water? So it's not milk. It's mei chalav. So it's watered down, or chalav that fell into water, and it's watered down. It's mostly water here. O b'chalav meta, or the literally dead milk. So the Torah prohibition again, the Torah of chalav is from chalav from a live animal. So what if it's from a dead animal? So we'll see. Chalav meta, or bechalav zakar. What about chalav zakar? So in many cases, the zakar of the animal, the male animal also can excrete milk in many cases. So what's the halakha of a male chicken or a male animal's milk? Chalav zakar, or shebishel dam b'chalav. Dam b'chalav is blood with milk. Is meat and milk? Meat and milk. So what about blood and milk? Is that meat and milk? What is it? So dam b'chalav. So on this whole list of things, the Shulchan Aruch says pattor. Ve'ein lokin al echilato mishum basar v'chalav. And you will not get lashes for eating these things because of basar v'chalav. So when the Shulchan Aruch in the halakha says pattor, that means you're not going to get the punishment. It also means we have a klal pattor of al asur. That means these things, the chalav meta, the chalav zachar, the mei chalav, and or cooking meat with chamei tiberia, cooking the mixture with the chamei tiberia, or cooking the mixture with smoking it. So all of these things are things that it says pattur ve'en lokin al achilato mishum basar v'chalav, means pattur that really you won't be punished for transgressing the prohibition, even the rabbinic on rabbinic level, rabbinic prohibition. But these are but you should avoid. You wouldn't go ahead and do these things lechatchila. So b'diavad, if you did it, it's you're patur, but you shouldn't go ahead and do those things. Haga, says the Rama. B'chalav zachar lo mikri chalav klal. So we mentioned, one of the things we mentioned was Chalav zakar. We said a male animal or a male chicken's milk, whatever milk comes out of a male. Lo mikri chalav. That's not considered chalav klal at all. That's not. We don't consider that milk at all. Im nafal toch k'dei rashel basar. And what if so a bunch of that milk poured into a pot of meat that was being cooked on the fire? Eino aser. So it won't become asur. It won't become asur. So chalav zakar. The Rama is saying chalav zakar, this male animal. Milk is nothing. It's water. It's not considered milk at all. Even if it falls into a pot, it's not going to prohibit the pot. It will not be considered basar b'chalav because it's a chalav zakar, a male milk. Aval chalav meta. But what about the chalav, milk from a dead animal? That means it didn't come out of a live animal. The milk came out of a dead animal. Mei chalav, or this milk water that we said, mei chalav. Osrim ha'ma'achal k'mo chalav atzma. Those things will, if they fall into a pot, those things would cause the mixture in the pot to be prohibited, to be asur. V'afilu b'bishul yesh le'asor lechatchila. And even cooking, we want to cook it together to make something out of it. You shouldn't cook again with the chalav meta or the mei chalav. You should not cook with it lechatchila. And continues the Rama now to give many cases of halachot in these areas that would seem to be questionable, and we need to know. What is the halacha of these things? Yesh omrim asur lachtot ha'esh tachat k'teira shel oved kochavim. So there are those that say that you're not allowed to stir up the coals, to stir the fire, to make the fire stronger, on a pot, under a pot of non-Jewish people that have that pot. So let's say there's not food in their tray for food being cooked. You're not allowed to cook the food, even if it's just dirty. Let's say, but it's not. It's of non-Jews. This pot that's being cooked. So now, let's say I have a friend, and my non-Jewish friend is asking me to please stir the fire to help the fire under the pot that he has on the fire. So יש אומרים אסור לחטוא את האש תחת קדירה של עובד כוכבים לפי שהם מבשלים בהם פעמים חלב פעמים בשר. The non-Jewish people, they sometimes they cook in their pots meat, and sometimes in the same pot they cook milk. והמחטא תחת קדירה שלהם בא לידי בישול בשר בחלב. And someone that comes and you stirs underneath their pot, so you're cooking basar b'chalav, because that pot has in it, somehow in the walls, or maybe in dirt, or even just entrenched in the walls of the pot is basar, and there is chalav. Now you're making the fire to be stronger. That's what he's asking you to do. You have to say, no, I can't do it. That would be cooking basar b'chalav. Even sometimes you can't see anything in there. It's still there. It could be in the walls of the kli. Od katvu. Furthermore, de'ein la'arev mayim she'yidichu behem kli basar im mayim she'yidichu behem klei chalav v'litein lifnei beima. So I want to feed my animal. I want to give him water. He's thirsty. My animal's thirsty. I want to give him. I have water around the house. Why should I give him clean water? He doesn't. The animal doesn't care if it's clean or if it has a little food in it or whatever. It's just for them. It's just water. But I have to be careful, because if I have water, this water around, I have a bucket of water. That's the bucket that let's say that we're cooking our fleshik, our meat dishes in that bucket, and we keep the water around. They didn't have maybe places they don't have sinks and hoses and running water. So they had water around the house. They had different types of water, different buckets around the house. So I have a bucket of water over here. That's the bucket that I use to wash the dishes of the meat dishes. And I have another bucket over there that I use to wash the milk dishes. That's another bucket of water. So it's all a bunch of water for the animal, right? So now I wanna. There's a little here, a little there. I want to put it all together and put it into a container and let the animal drink it. So it's not so simple. You're not allowed to do that because one of the things we said, of the three prohibitions of basar v'chalav, we said bishul, achila, v'hana'ah, cooking together, eating it, that it's cooked together, and having hana'ah, having benefit from it. So a classic case of benefit is giving it to your animal. I think that keeps it simple. As you could say, the benefit, maybe you could sell it. If you're allowed to sell it, that's benefit. But getting in selling questions, is there other questions? Because somebody who's selling a product, he might have other reasons he might come to use it, and other things. So we keep the simple hana'ah, getting benefit from something that you're not eating it, but you just it's less than eating. You're just benefiting. Is giving it to your animal, because otherwise you're going to save a few bucks on water or on whatever you're feeding your animal. So that's a mixture in that water. So let's look at the water a little bit. What's in the water? Why is it we said only if it's derech bishul, only if it's cooked together. So the mixture is only prohibited if it's cooked together. So here, what was cooked over here? So the dishes, when you wash the dishes, you use hot water. Usually hot water is used to mediach the kelim, to clean it. Cold water doesn't do such a good job with the kelim. So when you wash your dishes, you're washing with hot water. That hot water is touching the milk or the meat on the plate, and so now you have like a cooked food that's on these dishes, and then you're putting that water and that water together. So here he says that some say that would be asur to give to the behemah, because you're giving it to your animal, that's you're benefiting from. עוד כתבו, דהכלי שעושים בו מים לחפיפת הראש, the bowl that you use to make shampoo. So I'll be who's making shampoo over here? So we usually go to Bonds or go to wherever we buy our shampoo, and but it seems they used to make shampoo from the dust and the ashes that were on the kira, that were on the oven. There was ashes that would build up on the oven. Somehow those ashes were very good for mixing with water and making a shampoo out of it. So כתבו דהכלי שעושים בו מים לחפיפת הראש אין לשמש בו. דעושים אותה מעפר שהקירה ורגילות הוא להתערב שם בשר בחלב. So we don't use that kli, the same vessel that you're using to make this shampoo, don't use it for food. Because what is in those ashes? In the ashes is a buildup of from on the oven, and the oven is used sometimes for milk, and the oven can be used sometimes for meat. And the buildup of the ashes is a mixture, and so this vessel shouldn't either be used. ולכן יש לאסור גם כן להשתמש מן הקדרות של התנורים שבבית החורף, משום דניתזים עליהם לפעמים בשר וחלב מן הקדרות שמבשלים בתנורים. So you have these kelim, these vessels that are pots and pans that are in storage, and they're near ovens. This is all the same category. There's people you cook there, and you store your pots and pans there also. So from the cooking, all the cooking that's going on, these other vessels could get sprayed with either milk and meat. So those are של בית החורף. And then the Ramah says, B'diavad. So this whole list of things, these are all things that are very questionable. So the Ramah finishes and says, B'diavad, Ein lachush b'chol zeh, v'af lechatchila, Ein b'zeh ela chumrot b'alma, v'hamekil lo hifsid. That means all these things we need to be careful for. This was in a list of, we just gave a list of things that are, you could very close to transgressing the prohibition of milk and meat, and they're very close. So because they're so close, you're not allowed to do them lechatchila. But if it happened, one of these things you used the kli, let's say for the shampoo that was made from the afer, and you used that and you cooked in that same bowl. So all and everything that we gave on the list, b'diavad means if you did it already, it's not going to be any problem. It's not going to cause any problem. And even if you want to do it lechatchila, let's say you want to do one of these things, you need to. So the Ramah says these are chumrot. So that means some people are more strict, and some people are more lenient or less strict, and people. So you should know. It's very important to know what is the actual halacha, what is the Torah prohibition, and what is the derabanan, what is the rabbinic prohibition, and what is considered a chumrah that is neither, it's not even a rabbinic prohibition, but it's a chumrah, something that we should be strict about, that we should be to be careful about. V'hamekil lo hifsid, and here finishes the Ramah. After all this, and he says, if somebody's, even though they're chumrot, so people take, if I hear of a chumrah, some strictness, something I should do, I should do be strict in something even more than the halacha requires me to be. So I can choose which of those chumrot I want to take upon myself, and which ones I don't. So here the Rambam says, "Hamekil lo hifsid," that if somebody says, you know what, I'm not going to be machmir on that. So he gives you like almost a free ticket. He says, really, it's okay if you decide not to be machmir on any of these things. Also, that's the level of leniency that these are. So, thank you very much for joining us. This was the first shiur for in our Shulchan Aruch that we're having here daily. We're from 3 to 4. You're welcome to please come and join us, and we'll learn these halachot together in person. Those enjoying it online, also kol hakavod to everyone, and we hope to see you, and we hope to hear from you very soon. Yizrat Hashem.